Renaldo Gouws announced that he has joined the Freedom Front Plus. But is this a smart political move for the party? Let's get into it. So last week, Renaldo Gouws announced that he has joined the Freedom Front Plus. While Ronaldo is most recently known as being a very prominent South African YouTuber and political commentator, he actually was a former member of parliament for the DA. So Ronaldo actually served the DA for 12 years, and he does have quite a vast amount of political experience. He's been on the local level of politics as well as the national level, i.e. a member of parliament. And so he does have a very good understanding of political machinery and South Africa's current political spectrum. While this ultimately would be a very positive set of skills for the Freedom Front Plus to acquire, there has, of course, been the controversies that have surrounded Ronaldo, which actually led to him leaving the DA in 2024, or actually being kicked out by the party, rather. So for those who may not know the full extent of the scandal, I would actually advise you to watch Ronaldo's own video on what actually happened to him, which you can find on his YouTube channel, simply because firstly, he can break it down a little bit better than I can. And secondly, it is quite a detailed explanation. So it's best for us to get on with the analysis for the sake of time. What's incredibly important to note is that although this controversy could actually be viewed as a sort of downside for the Freedom Front Plus, it actually isn't such a big problem, because at the end of the day, most people who followed the controversy actually know that, first of all, Ronaldo did use the K word, albeit in a context that a lot of mainstream media simply did not portray to audience members. And many people have forgiven him for this. And a lot of the people who do still harbor resentment for him, you'll notice, are either members of the mainstream media or leftist political parties. And so those people are not the kind of voters that the Freedom Front Plus would be attracting in any case. And so in reality, Ronaldo's decision to join the Freedom Front Plus is not really damaging to the party at all. What's really interesting, however, is the massive upside that could potentially come due to his appointment. Okay, so just to remind everybody, in the 2024 national election, the Freedom Front Plus got about 455,000 votes, and these are split between the national and regional ballots. So if we divide it by 2, because of course people had to vote on both, it's about 218,000 votes, or rather 218,000 voters who decided to support the FF Plus at those elections. Now, what's really interesting about this is that if we go over to Renaldo Gouws' YouTube channel, we see that he actually has 192,000 subscribers as of late. And so Ronaldo's subscribers on YouTube almost equal the total tally of votes that the Freedom Front Plus was able to amass at the 2024 election. So this is an incredibly smart play for the Freedom Front Plus, because all of a sudden they have somebody within their ranks who is incredibly prominent, incredibly popular, and has quite a massive online platform from which to convey the party's message and perhaps convince others to either vote for or join the party. Now, something else that's also pretty important to note is that Ronaldo also has a very big following outside of YouTube. So sure, YouTube can definitely be a very big communication platform for him, but we all know that South African politics is very personality driven. And so whether or not you have a YouTube channel, people are interested in reading about and following those political parties with those interesting personalities that make the headlines, which Ronaldo has. Now, if we look at Ronaldo's X profile, we see that he has over 95,000 followers. So let's just compare this to the Freedom Front Plus leader, Corné Mulder. Fun fact about Corné, he actually follows me on X, and you are invited to as well at Matthew Cohen SA. But back to the program. If we look at Corné's X profile, we see that he has 12,900 followers. This means that if Ronaldo was to have over 100,000 followers at some point, he would have almost 10 times as many followers as the leader of the Freedom Front Plus actually has. And so this really puts the Freedom Front Plus in a very interesting space. You see, there are two styles of political parties in South Africa. The first style is what I like to call the organization-based parties. The second style I call the personality-based parties. The organization-based parties are those sorts of parties like the ANC, the DA, and actually the Freedom Front Plus, who are very strongly rooted in, first of all, building a very strong organizational structure and checks and balances within the party. So, for example, the DA has their Federal Council, which is their decision-making body. And what's very good for these parties is that no matter who the leader of the party is, they generally are able to maintain whatever support levels they've had and thus ensure their long-term sustainability. And so, for example, if John Steenhuisen had to step down tomorrow as the DA leader, chances are that DA support wouldn't erode, and perhaps they would even find a new leader who helped them gain support. Who knows? And this is because people know the DA, first and foremost, for its values and principles, as well as the organization as a whole, and its track record. And it knows it for these things before whatever personalities there are within the party. Now let's contrast this with the personality-based parties. I'm talking about MK Party of Jacob Zuma and, for example, the Patriotic Alliance of Gayton McKenzie. Now, these parties are very personality-driven. Generally, they are able to create a lot of media hype because their leaders are so popular. But this doesn't necessarily ensure long-term stability. So, for example, the Patriotic Alliance has grown quite a lot under Gayton McKenzie in recent times, right? And we can actually see this in their by-election results. For those of you who are interested in seeing my analysis of the PA's growth, check out the video that I posted in the top right corner of the screen. But if we are to actually consider if Gayton McKenzie was to step down from his role tomorrow, would the Patriotic Alliance still be able to maintain its current support levels? That's doubtful. So, in order to be a successful party in South Africa, it seems that you really need to find a happy medium between being that organization-based party and that personality-based party. So, for example, when the DA was under Helen Zille, we saw that it managed to attain significant growth because, of course, yes, the DA has a very strong organizational foundation, but Helen Zille is a very popular figure in South Africa, and so she was able to mobilize voters. With this in mind, the Freedom Front Plus actually find themselves in a very interesting space because they already have that sort of stable organizational structure and a very strong set of core ideologies, right? But they've never had those interesting personalities to galvanize voters. Now, with somebody like Ronaldo entering the fray, it finally seems that the Freedom Front Plus could actually have that kind of personality who is able to motivate voters and really get them to the polls. Because as we've seen, having a strong organizational foundation is critical, especially for your long-term survival. But you still need to be able to galvanize voters in the short term. And of course, there's no better way to do this than with a strong personality. As we know, in South Africa, politics is very personality-driven. That being said, I wish Ronaldo and the Freedom Front Plus all the best for the upcoming municipal elections. Thanks very much for tuning into this video. If you enjoyed it, please remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so that you can see more content. Until next time, I'm Matthew Cohen, and this is the Power Pod.